Global conversation now is going green. In fact, it is expected that soon the whole world will be painted in green, that's literally speaking. But all over the world, governments and indeed institutions are contemplating how to transit into a green world, a green economy, green knowledge, green energy, green environment. In fact, everything green. And all of this speak to the issue of cutting down the amount of carbon, we emit into the atmosphere, thereby causing so much harm, not just to the ecospace, but also to our health and the future of our planet Earth. Now, so much is being said of the impact of green economy on our climate and indeed climate change and quality of life of all peoples. And just recently, I personally experienced the comfort of living in an environment devoid of dust, smoke, and all the pollution from the use of fuel and other forms of combustible energy. I also had the pleasure of riding in an electric-powered car, and I'm reminded of my own country. Now, just at the dawn of 2020, the federal government hinted of plans to utilize the enormous gas resources in our reservoir via the National Gas Expansion Program. It was contemplated that Nigeria would reduce the amount of fuel consumption and save costs, not just for the country, but also for individual citizens. Now, this program is simply to convert a conversion of your cars fueled by or powered by petrol to auto gas, either LNG or CNG. Now, the National Gas Expansion Program was meant to have multiple benefits, but the one that relates with most of us is the enthronement of gas as the preferred energy for our domestic use and domestic economy. It is said to be much more cheaper than the cost of a liter of fuel. It was expected that by now, passenger and haulage vehicles that run on our highways would have started running on gas instead of petrol or diesel. When this initiative was made public, the cost of petrol was between 163 naira and 169 naira per liter. We all know the cost of petrol per liter today, almost 4 times that amount, and indications are that we might even be paying much more sooner or later. So it is for this reason that it has become expedient to revisit the plans for auto gas conversion in Nigeria. And on late edition this week, we revisit this initiative and its relevance or policy relevance now. I am Claire Adilabu Abdurrazak. Again, I thank you for joining me. Dr. Mohammed M. Ibrahim is a multidisciplinarian with over 30 years of cognate experience in international energy industry, both within and outside Nigeria. Now his experience straddles the entire streams of hydrocarbon, conventional and renewable energy. He's worked at various times with Unipetro, Adex Petroleum, and of course Equatorial Petroleum in various capacities. as is popularly called, served as Special Assistant on Petroleum Resources in 1998. He was a pioneer member of the Federal Government Oil and Gas Reform Implementation Committee, OGIC, headed by, of course, Dr. Rewanu Lukman, of blessed memory, and chaired various subcommittees on policy, upstream, downstream, National Petroleum Research Center, the Department of Petroleum Resources, DPR, and the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC. MM, and I'm sure he permits me to call him that, is currently chairman of the National Gas Expansion Program, NGEP Committee, with a mandate to expand domestic gas supply and stimulate demand in the country through effective and efficient mobilization and utilization of all available assets, resources, infrastructure in the country as enshrined in the National Gas Policy. He's a member of several professional bodies in engineering, law, and of course, medicine. Now, my second guest is engineer Christopher Ifejika, and is a member of Nigeria Society of Engineers and Council for Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, COREN. He holds a degree in engineering from the University of Port Harcourt, and he's also obtained power plant engineering and services training from the GE, General Electric's Energy Learning Center in the United States. Now, engineer Christopher Ifejika started his career as an engineer too at the Rivers State Ministry of Power. From there, he moved on to General Electric Company, where he served as installation director, Sub-Saharan Africa, for 15 years. He's currently the managing director, Distinct Industrial Concerns Limited, with specialty on energy consulting and, of course, contracting. My next guest is Dr. Musa Mohammed, and he's popularly known as Alhaji Maitakubi, of course, the brave scholar. And he had his elementary education at Sangayat School in Gaidam Town, of course, where he learned the Holy Quran. Alhaji Musa Mohammed ventured into transportation business. Of course, that's in the course of his Islamic endeavors, and that, you know, lasted for almost 2 decades, where he also served in various positions in the transportation sector. He was elected the state chairman of Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria, written in Lagos State, and was also executive national president of the association. But before this time, Alhaji Musa Mohammed, you know, made his marks in business and became the vice chairman of Alaba International Market. Besides being a transporter, he also has made implicit positive contributions to societal development, and which is widely felt and received, surpassing all ethnic, tribal, or religious differences. Dr. Musa Mohammed has the right leadership acumen, and he has also become the national leader of the National Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria. He is presently occupying that position. And just to add that, as a compassionate leader, he introduced the Travelers Accident Insurance Scheme. I'm sure many of us remembered that scheme. Of course, he also secured an ultra-modern secretariat for the association, brokered unity among members, and placed premium on the welfare of his members and commuters alike. And gentlemen, I'd really like to welcome all of you to late edition this week. Thank you very much for joining me. Dr. Mohammed, I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Engineer Ifejika, thank you. I only spoke with you, you know, just a few hours ago. But let's start this way. I know when Mr. President, you know, started, the very first part of his speech was to say, hey, subsidy is gone. And we know the message that sent, you know, across the country. The implication of that is that subsidy is no more. What is the impact of this on, Nigerians and on economy? Let's start from there, Dr. Mohammed.
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me. Obviously, like in any economic environment, governments all over the world do provide some form of subsidy to alleviate the sufferings of the people. And for quite a while, gasoline specifically has been a subject of subsidy in Nigeria's political economy. Gasoline, which is also known as premium motor spirit, is one of the hydrocarbon cuts that you obtain from refineries. When you send in crude oil into a standard refinery, you harvest different hydrocarbon cuts, as we call them, starting from gas, at atmospheric temperature and pressure. You get things like butane, you get propane, and so on and so forth in the standard refinery. And then as you go further, you also obtain premium motor spirit. Why has gasoline been the issue of subsidy in Nigeria? Different economies all over the world provide different forms of subsidy for energy. Energy in this term is on transportation and also electricity generation. For Nigeria, we all agree that a sizable number of the prime movers we use, that is what the small and medium enterprises use all over the country, are often driven by petrol engines. One, our transportation sector is also dominated by gasoline-fired engines. And that is the reason why gasoline has become very, very topical. In other economies all over the world, subsidies are normally on diesel, which is automotive gas oil. But it is the contrary in Nigeria, and rightly so. Diesel, subsidy on diesel in different parts of the world, in the United States, in India, and in Europe, is essentially to drive the mass transportation system, and at the same time to provide subsidy for agricultural production. Because you provide diesel, diesel is the main fuel, for tractors and agricultural activities, and also for construction, for industry, and also for power generation. But the reverse is the case in Nigeria, and that is the reason why gasoline, in Nigeria, became subsidized by government. So to answer your question, therefore, obviously and naturally, as expected, the moment subsidy was removed on May 29th by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, obviously that resulted in spiraling of prices across the entire economic spectrum of the country. So this is exactly what has happened.
And that includes, of course, a spike in the cost of fueling your cars, and the cost of transportation, and the cost of so many things.
Obviously, like we said, when we take energy and we look at the basic two streams of energy, transportation and electricity generation, which have been the bane of Nigerian economy, anything that will result in the hike in the price of gasoline will naturally result as well in the hike of the prices, of electricity generation, since the bulk of electricity generated in the country, is done by mostly, especially in households, by gasoline engines.
Spillover effect, economics call them. Engineer Fejika, quickly, how does that affect the average Nigerian?
Yes, I think Alaji just covered it all. The immediate impact is going to be negative because there's going to be a spike in prices of food. There's going to be a spike in prices of general logistics because most of our mode of transport, taxis and personal vehicles, rely on petroleum, or should I say premium motor spirit. I think the only time anybody can be talking about of any gain at all would be probably in the long term because of the revenue we are going to be saving the country. But right now, everybody is going to be feeling the pinch, generally.
Alaji, I know one sector where Nigerians are feeling, the pain is in the transportation sector, and you preside over, those who run commercial vehicles. How does it affect your members?
So, thank you for inviting me. Let me start with the condition we are. Both the commuters and we, the owners of the vehicles. If you can see, there are a lot of, even the civil servants that left their vehicle in their house, because if they look at it, it's better for them to enter public vehicles than to move with their own because of the cost of price. But like issue of CNG, for now, actually, if people will come back to it, it will be better. Like Dangote, it has no less than 5,000 trailers combined with the kit to
But
CNG.
even before we enter the conversion, I just wanted you to tell us how your people are coping with the increase in fuel and how they are dealing with their customers, because I know that every day, those commuters complain about today, if you take a taxi or a bus from one point in Abuja to the other, it's certainly not the same amount.
Well, actually, if you look at it, all the vehicles, the price is not high, based on what we look at it. But some ones, they like if they get passengers, they will double the money. So you look at, now we are buying the PMS, 165, some place 169. Now, in Lagos is 400 and something. In Abuja, 500 and something.
Some
Other place, even if you go to the Far North, it is 600 for 1 liter. How do you look at it and buying something 169 or 163 or somehow? Because you can't even give a filling station that you buy from Abuja, the one you buy from Sokoto is different. Some months even they cannot even sell it at 163. Some place there will be 200, some place it will be 250. So, but based of that, we are telling our drivers, no matter how it is, they should reduce the price.
But apart from reduction of the price, I mean that's on a compassionate level. The situation now is that your members are still buying fuel higher than what it used to be, higher than before.
Yes.
The fuel price, yes.
Yes.
And it's having an impact on passengers. That's the situation.
Yeah, but what we are trying to explain is that, you went market. The way you buy what you go to the market, the way you sell it.
Absolutely. I'm sure you know what I'm driving. I really want to know, Dr. Ibrahim, the nexus between, the impact on transportation and, the gas conversion, gas expansion program.
Well, thank you very much. Maybe we should go into history. It's very, very important to put the basis of what has happened. In 1975, the then NNPC attempted to introduce auto gas, into the country, and a couple of vehicles on experimental basis were converted. By 1998, when General Absalom Awukad came on board as the head of state, and I had the opportunity of serving under him as a special assistant, we knew that the country, had to retrofit its energy policy. And one of the first things we did was that, okay, let us try to advance the use of gas, both for power generation, thermal plants, and at the same time for transportation. There were 3 companies that were wholly owned by the Nigerian state at that time. One was called Nolchem, under the leadership of one engineer, Ojo. The second one was Unipetrol Nigeria Limited, or PLC, that was under the management of Alhaji Garba Yusuf Ali. And the third one, African Petroleum, was Umar Abba Gana. What we did in 1998 to 1999 essentially was to, okay, we now created 3 different gas companies. Okay, we said Nolchem, that was under the leadership of Ojo. We created an SPV, a special purpose vehicle, which we named City Gas. And City Gas had 40% Nolchem as equity, while 60% by other Nigerians, strictly for gas distribution, for natural gas, for both automotive use as well as for power generation. Unipetrol has gas link, and African Petroleum has gas land. Fast forward, suddenly by 2003, not much had happened except for one of the companies called GasLink. That company today is now what you call Owando Gas, okay, which is now distributing gas through pipeline all over the country. Right. Now, what happened was that there wasn't much government support for the use of gas all over the country, and not much happened until when President Olusegun Obasanjo came in 1999, and he called us and said, look, listen, what should we do about the issue of gas? We said, okay, the first thing we need to do is to see how we can gradually move Nigerian economy away from the dependence on gasoline and diesel towards gas. And the first thing we did was to say, okay, we're going to introduce compressed natural gas, for transportation for automotive use. Basically to get conventional vehicles, internal combustion engines that are currently running, that were running on diesel and gasoline, to now start running on natural gas. Now, this need at this point to make some certain clarification. The generic term on what is called auto gas is actually a misnomer. Auto gas is auto LPG, while natural vehicle gas are vehicles that run on CNG and LNG. Now, there's a difference. So when you use the word auto gas, you mean actually a vehicle that runs on liquefied petroleum gas. And then when you now use the word natural gas vehicles, NGVs, these are vehicles that run on LNG, liquefied natural gas, and CNG, compressed natural gas. They're quite different. But, let me...
Which one are we talking about now? Which one is the one that Nigerians should be, should know?
Very good. Now, this is where, the issue comes in. Because suddenly, because everybody is now looking for an alternative to gasoline, 220 million Nigerians are now specialists, in natural gas, and everybody is talking about CNG. It's completely wrong, it's false, and it's very confusing. And that is why we need to educate people to provide the right information. The first thing that we did in 2005, was that we decided to set up what we call CNG stations all over the country. We had a pilot in Edo State in Benin. We built a 70-kilometer pipeline around Benin and set up 8 CNG filling stations in Benin. Through that process in 2005, today we have over 10,000 vehicles in Benin running on compressed natural gas or dual fuel. Basically,
which Benin?
Benin City. There are over 10,000 vehicles that currently run on compressed natural gas without government participation at all. And without you spending any large sums of money to install combustion kit. It's a model that we have run for the last 15 years.
Give us, before I escalate to the conversation, because you are the expert here, and this is quite technical, what exactly is this process?
Good.
Yes, so that the lay person would have an understanding. What is this conversion? Change your car, from using petrol to using either of the gases that, form of gases that you have talked about. So that the mechanic, for instance, who is by the roadside will understand, okay, this is what I'm expected to do.
Okay, I'll just do a simple chemistry of what natural gas is and the entire gas ecosystem. Natural gas is what you call methane, CH4, basically. If from your sewage system, what you generate from refuse bin is nothing but natural gas, because it's natural. Now, but what happens in terms of, in the case of hydrocarbon is, natural gas is the one that comes out in the process of, searching for crude oil, either directly, that is non-associated gas, or associated with crude oil. Now, the thing with Nigeria is that every single oil well that you have in Nigeria, when you are drilling crude oil, it comes with natural gas. So the country is blessed with natural gas. Now, at some point, we're being told that natural gas is actually a nuisance. So when the guys come to, produce, explore and produce natural, it is fled. Good. And that is what we try to stop. So let's now take the molecule of natural gas to be able to explain the difference between LNG, CNG, and LPG. When you take the molecule of natural gas, which is CH4, which essentially, natural gas contains about between 70 to 80% of methane, which is CH4. But there are other gases, that are associated. If you, process further, you now get what you call liquefied natural gas. Liquefied natural gas is nothing but what you call lean gas, that is dried gas, that you now liquefied 600, you now compress 600 times its volume. That's why it's called liquefied natural gas.
That's the one you use for your cooking?
No, I'm coming to
Okay.
that. Liquefied natural gas, LNG, that is when you hear that, oh, we have LNG train 1, LNG train 2, up to train 7. As a matter of fact, and I'm going to use truly a layman word, liquefied natural gas is not really liquid. It is actually solidified. Because what we do is that we take natural gas and then compress and then reduce what do you call it, the carbon chains, at minus 162 degrees Celsius. Okay, it now becomes solid. So if you take LNG and you throw it, it's like a solid. It's like a block. You understand? So, but it's just called liquefied natural gas because when you now want to use it, you now have to use what's called a vaporizer to heat it, to bring it back from solid state into gaseous state. So basically, liquefied natural gas, it is gas that you have brought from gaseous state through liquid state down to solid state to be able to move it. You understand? Now, if you now want to produce compressed natural gas, you, instead of now, reducing it at a very, very low temperature, you leave it, you just compress it. It now gives you what called compressed natural gas. And finally, the liquefied petroleum gas that you use, which you call cooking gas, okay, is the one that is, stored in normal cylinders at, atmospheric pressure and so on and so forth. So what are the differences? LNG, liquefied natural gas, comes in solid state. If you want to use it, you have to vaporize it, you have to heat it up, to move it from that solid state into gaseous state. Compressed natural gas, you can use it directly, you understand, in your vehicle. And finally, liquefied petroleum gas, you can use it for cooking and also in your vehicle. So the entire gas stream, you can use LNG in your vehicle, you can use CNG in your vehicle, you can use LPG in your vehicle. Let me conclude at this point by stating as follows. There's been lately a lot, for LNG, if because of the nature, how you store it, you can do 2,000 kilometers without refueling because it comes in what you call the cryogenic tank, a cooling tank, because it's in solid form. It's like the ice block you have. So when you have, a cryogenic tank in your car or your truck, it's actually in solid form. That is why it's called liquefied natural gas. What is the advantage of that? It enables you to use it in trucks that go long distances. So if a vehicle is traveling from Maiduguri to Port Harcourt, it is better it runs on liquefied natural gas
that's
not on
LNG.
On LNG and not on CNG. You
so
understand?
LNG would be suitable for
very long distances.
Okay.
Meanwhile, CNG can go between 200 to 300 kilometers radius. So you can use it for urban use. That is compressed natural gas, simply because you only just compress it, not at a very, very low temperature.
Engineer Fejika.
Yes.
What do you feel?
Well, I think I've actually consumed some of what the doctor is giving to us here. I think very, very instructive, and a lot actually has been, a lot of grounds have been covered under the National Gas Expansion Program. The only thing I would like to add is that the reason why we're here for this discussion, and I believe some of the angst we have among Nigerians, is because some people still feel that they're not, feeling some of these progress, or should I say that the removal of the fuel subsidy has increased people's
the urgency.
The urgency. So what I would like to add is that I've seen, he has actually just given you a tip of the iceberg of some of the homework and some of the work he has put on ground. And I saw it. The only thing I would like to add is that we need to, up the ante. Whatever, let's say we're moving before at 20 kilometers per hour, we need to move to maybe 80 even.
I'm actually surprised
right now.
at the number of,
in Benin,
yes, in Benin.
So
I'm actually surprised.
you can see that quantity or that quantum of vehicles have been converted and you were not aware of it. Generally, we now have our National Bureau of Statistics telling us that we'll have 12 million vehicles, and there's a, what should I call it, a delineation between public transport, private car owners, official vehicles, and all that. So we need to actually, should I say, tweak some of what we already have on ground, because all the homework has been done.
In which area?
Some of what we have to tweak the key and select the key performance indices for all the work already being done. Key performance indices in terms of how many cars have been converted, how many collocation centers do we have. I know he didn't mention that, but you understand what I'm talking about.
The cryogenic tanks he talked about, I don't even know.
All of those things, maybe he will tell us later about the collocation aspect of it. Up to 6, how many? What quantity of our filling stations do we have the collocation centers in again? I've forgotten how many.
I'll come to you later.
Yeah, he'll come to that. Okay. So
yes,
whatever we have there, we need to bring all of them into a dashboard so that we can see how we can now scale it up. You understand? We need, because we have a 10-year program, and even though we have a 10-year program, that 10-year program can actually still be tweaked towards the end. What are we going to be having towards the tail end of the 10-year program? We know that we are supposed to have a multi-stakeholder kind of arrangement under the National Gas Expansion Framework. The Ministry of Finance is supposed to be involved, and probably the Ministry of Justice as well. Then the states need to be involved. They need to be involved because you hear stuff like 2017, we fled 324 billion cubic feet of gas, whereas the largest consumer and exporter of gas in Nigeria, which is the NLNG, uses 3.5 billion per day. Can you imagine that we fled up 300? Of course, we've also made some improvement in that again, because just last year, 2022, Nigeria came top above Mexico and US in the countries that dropped down the fled gas in the index. You know, so many beautiful things going on, but we need to now make it more deliberate and focused so that the people can feel the impact.
He has said the number of cars, and I don't know, so how many of your members aware of this process?
Very, very well. Because only in our side, we have more than 10 million.
Cars?
Yes.
Vehicles, I should say.
Yes. And we are on even the kit already is on ground. So we used to buy it. We have no less than now 30 that we are waiting for the kit. And I'm sure before end of this week, inshallah, the kit will be available for us to combine all this one to CNG. Because it's a just commercial vehicle that is in between Abuja to Mina, between Abuja to Kogi. They are not going long journey. In long journey, at least we combine no less than 3,000 something. Now, it's very, very easy. It's not only in a vehicle, even in gen. Like now as I'm speaking, in my house, I'm not buying any PMS. I'm using the gas, the cooking gas, with my gen.
Okay.
And easily, you only buy carburetor. When you buy the carburetor, they will just come and install it. Then you put your gas cylinder for gas. They will join it. And one thing is, I want to advise the public. You see, the cooking gas with your gen, if you buy PMS that can finish a day, the cooking gas with your gen, you can use it for good 5 to 6 days. And it's cheaper. It's cheaper. The whole cylinder, 6,500.
If we have this amount of vehicles that are running on this, energy, why are we also experiencing hike in transportation? Because that is the bottom line. It should reduce the cost of transportation.
The issue, you see, it's not easy to control the drivers that are driving these vehicles. It's not something you put it in data, that anywhere you went and you load the passenger, the amount you collect, you will see it in the data. It's not so. Somebody will tell him to go out. When he took the vehicle now, go out, this is the price, this is the price, this is the price. The moment you step out,
they do what is
then he will do what he like. And you don't have the record in your data that can be able to say, okay, he violated the undertaking, you signed before I give you this vehicle, you went so place, this is the price, you carry these passengers. Then the commuters, also they are no helping issue. If they're hiking the transport, nobody will write to report to our office.
But isn't that why
so,
there
and
should
it's
be
very
a form of
easy
regulation?
Somebody to write. We have an address. They can send it through our email, or they will come to the office and drop the letter. So we work on it. You put the vehicle plate number, you write it, then you will be able to know the driver name. You send it to us, then we'll call on it.
Elijah, I'll put us on hold. I mean, when you're having an interesting conversation, time just, ticks away faster than usual. I can't believe we've run, half of our time. You're watching Late Edition, and we're looking at the plans by the federal government to, of course, have our vehicles converted from using petrol, to the various forms of gas that we have. And I have, of course, a very distinguished guest in the studio. We'll just be back in just a moment. Don't go away.
You can't fight piracy, you can't fight a war.
Therefore, you don't claim your rights.
The challenge I see is in the fiscal.
Do we have to wait until we have a problem?
See, the problem with those who speak on behalf of themselves and the country is that they should have facts. I'm speaking now as Minister for Transport.
For you to become economically independent, you must have to curtail the level of importation of other people's products and services.
How rich you are, you can't bring certain vehicle into the country.
There's no competitiveness within the state.
I am Claire Adilabu Abdulrazak. Thanks for joining me. Welcome back to the program. It's Late Edition, and this week we're reviewing the National Gas Expansion Program initiated by the federal government. And of course, as I said earlier at the beginning of our conversation, this is prompted, of course, by the high cost of buying petrol and the subsidy removal, of course. So let's come back again, and I'd like Dr. Ibrahim to explain to us so many things you need to explain to us, or to enlighten us rather. First, we'd like to know how affordable it is for car owners to have their cars converted. Where are the centers, and what are the implications? If I have a car, what are the implications of changing the whole mechanics of my car to suit, that of gas?
Thank you very much. You see, conversion, like I explained earlier on, the principle of internal combustion is same, whether we are burning wood, or you are burning gasoline, or you are burning diesel, or you are burning gas, because they're all hydrocarbon. The word hydrocarbon, the solid member of the family of hydrocarbon include things like charcoal, wood. The liquid part of it is crude oil, and of course the gaseous part of it is natural gas. So they are all members of the same family, and you can use them in the standard internal combustion engine. So there's actually no issue. For instance, if you want to use cooking gas in your prime mover, again I use the word prime mover to represent whether it's gasoline engine for your generator, or is it for your car, or for your truck, or for your power plant in the house, is the same prime mover. All you just need to do is you put what you call a combustion kit, which is very, very affordable. What has happened over the last month?
What is affordable?
Very good. Immediately, Mr. President announced on May 29th that subsidy had been removed. We knew this was going to happen because we had worked on this for the last 3.5 years. So there was quite a lot of combustion kits that were going for only 6,000 naira. So the guy with his
6,000.
6,000 naira.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
oh,
6.
Yeah. So the guy with his 1, 2, 3 kVA generator, the small holder who maybe he's just a seamstress or somebody who is doing a barber shop, all they did was pick up the combustion kit, 6,000 naira, and then you install it. It's another form of carburetor that enables that particular generator to run on both gasoline and also cooking gas. Okay, but you know what happened? The quantity of the combustion kits that were available got immediately exhausted. Today, the same combustion kit has gone to 15,000 naira. Obviously, because supply and demand.
You just dashed my.
No, I'm coming. I'll tell you what happened.
But this is the first step. You
Yes.
obtain the conversion kit at
in
less
10
than
minutes,
20,000 naira.
Yeah, in 10 minutes, any mechanic can install the carburetor for you. Simple. It's not complex. It's not difficult, and nothing changes in the engine. In the prime mover, it works. If you now want to use the same cooking gas for your car, it's the same thing you do. Listen, LPG as an auto fuel has been used for the last 70 years. If you remember, some of the so-called, they call them tourist or Tokumbo vehicles. In the past, you see a tank in the boot of the vehicle. This is what has been used in Europe for the last 70 years. It's not new technology. It's not complex. It's actually easy and affordable, right? But obviously, depending on the kind of vehicle, the brand of the vehicle, the age of the vehicle, you have different price regimes.
We heard at the time that it will cost from 200 to 250 to 300, and then there was going to be some form of subsidy for those who intend to have.
Let me explain to you what has happened. At that point, people are calling for subsidy. We said no. We already had a model in Benin that was working. And what was the model we did in Benin in 2005, which was formally launched in 2009? What we did was that, okay, look, the company that was given the franchise area for Benin, there were actually 3 companies that were given franchise areas. One was given for Lagos, one was for Benin, and one for Lekki. Only the Benin one actually invested and built the CNG stations. What we told them to do at that time, in 2005, was to bring in thousands of conversion kits, which they did. So you don't have to cough out, hundreds of thousands of naira to buy the conversion kit. All you just need to do is you drive into the conversion center, okay, and then they install the conversion kit on your vehicle. The conversion kit has a chip, that says, look, this conversion kit costs this amount of money. It has been, installed in your vehicle. Then the price of CNG was about 90 naira per SCM. When I made it 95 naira per SCM, so that 5 naira on top, over time, they will recover the cost of the conversion kit. It has worked for over 10 years without anybody coughing out hundreds of thousands of naira in the media.
Why are we not having that experience in Abuja?
And I'll tell you why we're not having that experience. And this is where discussion gets very interesting. So we came on board 2020, okay. And our first point of call was the Nigerian labor unions. We went to the NLC, we went to the Pengasin, we went to Nupeng. These are industry unions.
Yes.
And we said, look, listen, join us in this. They refused. Nigerians must have this information.
What about return?
I'm coming.
What's the involvement of return?
I'm coming.
I know, yes.
By the time we got to return, 2 years ago, return placed an order for 2,300 vehicles that are dual fuel gas. Return is the first transport union in West Africa that has invested more than any transport union in this country.
I will allow you to talk about this. Please just tell us how far we've gone, in this regard.
Well,
what was the interest? What motivated your members?
You see, we have met with OMAC in respect of this CNG, LNG. And there had a seminar given to us by Dr. Ibrahim, which including we, the transport owner, and the OMAC company. The first we invest and we agree with side the MOU is the 200 and something. And by now it has given us 2,000, yes, it is 2,000 something vehicles, all with CNG, some with LNG.
Any form of troubles, complaints, what are the issues?
Nothing.
Your members?
Let me tell you one thing. We save over billions. If you compare for the trucks and the buses with the PMS that we used to buy in a month, in a year. So the best things, let people focus to invest in CNG and LNG. So it will be safe. Number one, if we buy CNG, LNG from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri, it's quarter of the money we are buying diesel. Quarter. Because a place, the gas will take you, at least you buy gas from Port Harcourt. Before, if you reach Enugu, you must to buy another one, no matter how is your tank is. If you put full cylinder, big one, think it will take you almost close to Abuja here, from Port Harcourt. Then from Abuja, if you fill the cylinder, or if you have extra, you join the extra, it will take you almost close to Maiduguri.
Is it safe to have an extra cylinder?
Yes. There is some motor you can learn 4-cylinder,
yes,
3-cylinder in the back
yes,
of the
truck head.
The truck head.
Yes.
In between the body and the truck head.
Yes.
So some place, just people did not even go through to know what the CNG and LNG is doing. Look at it. Let me give you an example. From Lagos, do you know we only use 1 cylinder and half? Which for now, if you want to buy PMS from Lagos to Abuja here, you spend no less than 100 or 120.
No, you must fill from Lagos and then you top when you get to Benin.
Akure, if you just decide, if you come to Akure, you must. After Akure, if you come to Lakwaja, then you must.
You must stop.
Before not even to go to Kano. For we prepare the CNG and LNG than even anything. And that's why we focus ourselves. There is no vehicle now. Only import. So Nigerian, or like this company we discussed with him, we even signed a MOU before.
But now you've told us numbers of vehicles that you have. But in terms of, your branches, if you disaggregate the members, how many of such vehicles do we have in Abuja?
Abuja, for the vehicles that register, if you talk about the trucks, the tankers, the cars, at least we have no less than 30 to 25,000 only here in Abuja. But the problem we have, I want you to know, is that someone will come and register as a member. There are some ones that don't have even vehicles. There are some ones, they are civil servants. They register with us. In time, if they close from work, when they are going back home, they will carry passengers. If they are coming in the morning, they will carry passengers. That is what they use to buy the CNG or they buy PMS. That is how they used to do. Some ones, they are driving the vehicles by themselves. They have retired. Some ones, if they have the annual, there are some ones that used to get annual. So for that 1 month or 2 weeks or 1 week, their duty is to take their own vehicles to carry passenger from here to Lokoja, some from here to Kaduna, some from here to Nasarawa. That is how they used to do. We asked them why. They said the salary they are getting is not enough for them. The best thing, they should come and register so that they can be able to maintain themselves.
Okay, let me put you on hold. Engineer Ifeji, obviously it's an interesting conversation. But again, you heard there is need for states, like you rightly mentioned at the beginning, for connectivity, all over the states. But that has not happened.
Let me put the context in full right now. Where I was driving with the multi-stakeholder engagement is that some people in some quarters have said that maybe the Federal Ministry of Finance should probably do away with some of the taxes on some of these LPG, CNG, and LNG as well, so that it can further reduce the price. And I am of the opinion, because I'm from the Niger Delta, I'm aware of some of the pipeline vandalization that is going on a regular basis. So if we have a situation whereby pipelines, long pipeline trunks, the transportation value chain is being disrupted, we have flaring going on, it actually affects the total volume of gas available for use or conversion for these or for the use of these converted vehicles.
We're not even talking about availability. We're talking about at least keying into the project, you know, for stakeholder.
So,
yes.
Just like we have now, we have power plants that have keyed into the federal government directives, but they're shutting down because of, what do you call it? Because of lack of gas, because of these disruptions. So, from what Doctor has said earlier on, what we are only going to witness is a ramp up of this interest and this use, because certainly everybody needs to run away from the rain towards a shelter, because this fuel subsidy removal is very serious downpour on people's pocket, and they need to really, you know, manage their destinies generally. So we're going to, instead of us waiting till we get to the point where we're no longer going to be having some of these products available for the vehicles that have keyed into it or the individuals that have keyed into it. Let us be handling, like I said again, key performance indices. We need to have a dashboard to be looking at all of this. We cannot be caught off guard again. Like I said again, our march now, because of the seriousness of the situation we find ourselves, has to be deliberate and steady.
Yes,
no more hiccups.
Dr. Ibrahim, you've heard the issues. He talked about, I don't want to use the word scarcity, but availability. And he's also talking about ramping up, you understand? And also tell us where are these centers? Okay, Benin, fine. Apart from Benin, where are the other centers? Are there centers, are they invincible?
One of the main politicians that I need to commend at this point is Willie Obiano, the immediate former governor of Anambra State. Immediately, the former President Buhari launched our program on the 2nd of December 2020. Willie Obiano called us, and we went to Anambra State. And that was what gave birth to Innocent Motors today, assembling auto gas vehicles, and Oma Motors, assembling auto gas vehicles. As I speak, Anambra has the highest pool of auto gas conversion technicians in this country because of our program. Because when we did our stakeholders engagement in Anambra State, over 1,800 people attended. The next state was Ekiti State, where today, Afe Babalola University has a captive power of 5 megawatts and is expanding it to 10 megawatts with an airport coming in Ado-Ekiti in September under our program. Today, we have 50 megawatts coming up in Maiduguri. We have 70 megawatts in Sokoto. We have, now, where are the centers where you can fill up your vehicles? Compressed natural gas is very simple technology. It's just a compressor. Basically, the kind of compressor you have in your air conditioning system at home. You get the gas, you compress it to reduce the volume so that it can be used. So you have what you call the mother stations and the daughter stations. The mother stations are where the pipeline passes, and then you get a portion from where the pipeline you tee off, and you compress the gas using very big compressors. We have them in Lokoja. We have refilling plants. I can start from Lagos. We have more than 10 in Lagos. We have Ibafo. Ogun State has more than 20. I just commissioned an LNG at, what do you call it in Ogun State. You can drive from Lagos up to Maiduguri on LNG. If you have your vehicle running on LNG, you can do 2,000 kilometers. So if you take off from Lagos to Maiduguri, you don't have to fill up. We have LNG, LCNG. The interesting thing here is, rather than focusing on LNG or CNG, you now have a new technology called the liquefied compressed natural gas, LCNG. That enables the LNG that you have using vapor and using a very, very strong pump to generate CNG in situ.
I don't know. Dr. Ibrahim Mohammed, Chairman, Nigerian Gas Expansion Program. Thank you very much. I don't have the words to thank you for coming to enlighten us. Dr. Musa Mohammed as well. May Takubi, the brave scholar, National President, Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria. Thank you for all the work that you're doing. And of course, Engineer Christopher Ifejika, who is, of of course, an energy consultant. We'd like to really appreciate your contribution to this program. Now we've learned a lot much more about this gas conversion program. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I'd like to thank you for joining us. From me, Claire Delabu and my production team, have a pleasant week.